All praises, honor, and glory be to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All praises, honor, and glory be to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the people of the earth ignorantly and incorrectly call God, and the name of his Son, Yahushai, who the world calls Christ, the anointed Savior. And Jesus, the true and proper name of the Son of God, is Yahushai, and the true and proper name of the Most High God, once again, name is Yahweh. So all praises to Yahweh, Wah, and Yahushai. Now, speaking in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew tongue, which was the first language of the planet, when you read in Genesis, the 11th chapter, and is also known as the language of the heavens. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel, Barakim La, Habayath, Madabada. Blessings to the house of David, which you brothers labor in, day in and day out, giving all diligence, making your calling of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel for the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand, and to the Akim and Agwath that listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached unto you, I say shalom. So this is the Brother Sakalah, back with a lesson. I pray this lesson is edifying, exhorting, and comforting, which is Philippians 4:7, the peace that surpasseth all understanding, which is this truth. So let's jump into it, because the majority of Israelites today on the planet, which there's billions upon billions, right? And the Israelites consist of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people today, which are scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. When you read throughout the Bible and throughout prophecy. So the majority of Israelites today are not concerned about what's coming in the end. They're not considering that for their actions, the way that they're living, that there's going to be repercussions from the God of heaven and earth. Now let's show that real quick. Let's get this. This comes to mind before we get started. This is 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, right? So all of our actions are being weighed. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 10. I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, "For we must all stand before the anointed Hamashiach to be judged. We will each receive whatever we deserve for the good or evil we have done in this earthly body." So what we do, it actually matters to the Most High, right? It actually matters to the Most High. And all of our actions are being weighed. Now, the exemption is going to be given to the elect. When you read in Revelation 2 and 17, a white stone or exemption from judgment, the mark of the Wah is going to be that exemption for the believers, the ones that's going to return, that were called, and ultimately that are going to be chosen, right? This is the book of Proverbs 5 and 7. It says, "Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth." Verse 8, "Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house." Now, what is this making reference to? Let's keep reading. "Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel." Now, when you go here, this comes to mind as well. When you go to the book of Baruch, it's the book of Baruch 4 and 1. "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All that keep it," speaking of the commandments, "all that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." Verse 2, "Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it," speaking of the law, statutes, and commandments. "Walk in the presence of the light," that's having faith and living according to the word, "that thou mayest be illuminated," that we might have understanding. That only comes from the light, from the truth. Verse 3, "Give not thine honor to another," here's the point, "give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation." Now back in Proverbs 5 and verse 8, it says, "Remove thy way far from her," speaking of what? The ways of the world, the philosophies of the world, the wine, the doctrines, right? The doctrines of devils, the things that are contrary to the truth. "Remove thy way far from her," and that will be also likened unto Babylon, "and come not nigh the door of her house. Lest thou give thy honor unto others," as it just said in Baruch, don't give our honor unto others, "and thy years unto the cruel." Verse 10, "Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger." Verse 11, "And thou mourn at the last." See, what's coming is that the majority of Israelites are not considering that mourning is coming in the last days. the time of Jacob's trouble, the time of great tribulation. And thou mourn at the last. So for what's going on now, the average Israelite, the average Jake, is not considering what's going to happen in the end. And thou mourn at the last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. They're not thinking that for the actions that they're taking and for the way that they're living, that actually there's going to be judgment for it. And that judgment is going to be, let's get that, for who? The children of disobedience. It's the book of Colossians. Should be 3. Colossians 3. No, that's 4. Colossians 3 in verse 6. It says, for which things sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience. Let me read that again. Colossians 3 and 6. It says, for which things sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience. Now in the NLT it says, because of these sins, the anger of the Most High is coming. And it's coming, it says, on the children of disobedience. Another name for the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, right? Which are reprobates, which are wicked and won't return to the laws of the Most High. So now, they're not considering the wrath of the Most High is about to be upon this earth, right? And he's going to start at his house first. This is the book of Luke 21 in verse 36. Luke 21 and 36, the words of Yahushua, our Lord. It says, watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. So we're supposed to watch, right? And pray and then remain resolute in the faith, remain firm, strong, and continue to grow, because we're going to need that exemption. We're going to need exemption from our sins and ultimately from judgment. That would be the mark of the Wah. That would be the engrafted word. Once again, it says that you may be able to escape all these things that shall come to pass. That's talking about all the pitfalls that's coming in the time of Jacob's trouble, the fiery darts, of the devil, of the enemy, and then ultimately to stand before the Son of Man. We want to be able to stand before the Son of Man. We don't want to be of those that's going to mourn at the last. We want to be able to stand at the last. Now, let's show that here in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach or Sirach 18. And I'll start at verse 24. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of vengeance when he shall turn away his face. So a believer will be thinking upon what's coming, not worried about what's going on now and trying to seek to save our lives. Because Yahushua said those that seek to save their lives are going to lose it. And those that seek to lose, and those that lose their life are going to save it for his name's sake. Right? So we're thinking upon the wrath that's coming at the end. When the Most High turn away his face, the scriptures tell you in Isaiah the 55th chapter that matter of fact, let me just get it. I only want to quote it. Right? Why does it say, think upon the wrath that should be at the end? There's a reason why. Isaiah 55 and verse 6, it says, seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way. All those that won't come into the knowledge of this truth, that reject it, right? Or don't think that is of any real profit to them, or they got better things to do. Let the wicked forsake his way, which is the children of disobedience, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return, the believers are going to return, which they're doing day by day, unto the Lord Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him and our power. It says, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. That's where the exemption from judgment is going to come. The exemption from judgment is going to come to those that actually return to the Most High according to his word and live uprightly according to the commandments to the best of their ability. This is the book of 1 Timothy 5 and 6. But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Now, this can be actually attributed to the nation of Israel. Now, speaking about a woman or women, but this can be attributed to being dead while she lives. It can be attributed to Israel as well as a whole, right? Not considering the repercussions for her actions. Now, let's show that. It says, she that lives in pleasure is dead while she lives. So Jeremiah, the 6th chapter. Jeremiah 6:2, I have likened the daughter of Zion to Zion, or the monument of the Lord, to a comely and delicate woman. So she that's living in pleasure, Israel, it says, is dead while she lives. Once again, Jeremiah 6:2, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So symbolically, Israel is the wife of the Most High when you read in the scriptures, right? Who committed adultery by turning away from the commandments and serving other gods, taking on other religions, right? Committed whoredom. And Yahweh, pretty much put away Israel, because Israel was given over to the pleasures of the world. Now, here's another one that comes to mind. It's Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. Let's see where this is at. Jeremiah 2, because Israel wandered playing the harlot. Jeremiah 2, and 20, it says, for of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou saidest, I will not transgress, speaking of the children of Israel. When upon every high hill and upon every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. That was Israel going into all these different philosophies and gods and ways of the world, being amongst the heathen, assimilating amongst all these other cultures. So now, us having this truth, we're supposed to return to the Most High and put away, right, harlotry. So that's what happened to Israel. Matter of fact, glad I touched on that. Here's a good example in the book of Ezekiel, right? The Israel, who is the symbolic wife of the Most High, was put away because she became a harlot. Let me just start here. I got to start from the top of here. Now here it says, the heading, the Most High's grace to the unfaithful Jerusalem. This is Ezekiel 16:1. It says, again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem, right, which is the city of peace, the children of Israel, to know her abominations. That's why the Most High said he sent out the prophets, right? That's how Jerusalem would know their abominations. There's always been prophets since the world began. Ezekiel 16:3, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan, thy father, which is the land of Israel today. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. As for thy nativity, in the day thou was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water, showing Israel was what? She was unclean. Neither was thou washed in water to supple thee. Thou was not salted at all, nor swaddled at all, which is what would happen to a baby. Well, the Most High is going to make it clear through Ezekiel why he's saying this and how this applies today. Ezekiel 16:5, it says, none I pitied thee to do, it says, any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, speaking of the other nations. But thou was cast out in the open field to the loathing of thy person in the day thou was born. Verse 6, and when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, meaning unclean, live, yea, I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live, meaning the Most High had compassion and mercy still on Israel, even though our people was going off. Verse 7, I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased in waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas it says, thou was naked and bare. Verse 8, now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, meaning we were covered, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, it says, and enter into a covenant with thee. That's through the law, statutes, and commandments. So from us, the time before we had that, going back to the time of Egypt and before, but more specifically Egypt, the commandments were given unto us after, right? So that was the covenant the Most High made. Saith the Lord Yahweh, and thou becamest mine. And that's how that covenant was like a marriage license, so to speak. That was how we We became one with the Most High, right? Basically, those were the papers that the Most High had on us. Because when you go into the marriage ceremony, which is nothing like how it is in the Western world and in the world, today, a man would actually receive papers of ownership of his wife. His wife, when you read the scriptures, became his property. Ezekiel 16:9, then washed I thee with water, yea, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. And that was the understanding through the covenant that we had with the Most High. Verse 10, I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin. So this was the Most High actually, the Most High was showing out right here. He was showing how he gave us the desires of our heart. We were set up in our land. And there was a time, after King David, when King Solomon took over, where we ruled, right? So this was that badger skin. It says, and girded thee about with fine linen, and covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments. I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain on thy neck. Now, when this can't, happen to the nation, it's not speaking about to the nation per se. This couldn't happen, right? But this is symbolic. This is symbolism all right here. Right? The Most High decking Israel with ornaments and bracelets and putting a chain on our neck. These are things that we know the Israelites love. Jewelry. And I put a jewel on thy forehead and earrings in thine ears and a beautiful crown upon thine head. Now this brings to mind the story here of Judith. Right? This brings to mind the story of Judith, showing you this is all symbolism. Right? So in the story of Judith, you're going to see Judith is going to be decked, right, with these jewels. And this is, once again, she that lives in pleasure is dead while she live, right? Which is symbolic of, can be, shown symbolically to be Israel. Judith 10 and verse 1, so that whole chapter in Ezekiel 16 is really touching on a lot of the symbolism that come with the Most High's relationship with Israel. Judith 10 and 1, now after that she had ceased, Salakia, to cry unto the God of Israel, and had made an end of all these words. She rose where she had fallen down, and called her maid, and went down into the house, in the which she abode in the Sabbath days and in her feast days. Verse 3, and pulled off the sackcloth which she had on, so she was in mourning, and put off the garment of her widowhood, because she lost her husband, right? And washed her body all over with water, and anointed herself with precious ointment, and braided the hair of her head. That's a common thing with Israelites, having their hair braided, men and women, and put on a tire upon it, and put on the garments of gladness, wherewith she was clad during the life of Manasseh, her husband. Verse 4, and she took sandals upon her feet, and put about her bracelets and her chains and her rings and her earrings and all the ornaments, and decked herself bravely to allure the eyes of all men that should see her. So, hey, she got fresh. And by nature, Israelites, like to get fresh, like to look good, right? You got songs like I look fly, I look good, on my mama, on my hood. Hey, that's all in the spirit. Jake like to be fresh, like to be clean. Like that song from Outkast back in the day, so fresh and so clean, right? Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm dressed so fresh, so clean. So that's what Judith was doing. And this is what the Most High is giving symbolism, showing that relationship with Israel when she was upright, which in the Hebrew is Yashawan, Israel's ideal character, right? Verse 5, then she gave her maid a bottle of wine, it says, and a cruse of oil, and filled a bag with parched corn and lumps of figs and with fine bread. So she folded all these things together and laid them upon her. So now when we go back, we see that this is the Most High speaking about Israel. Now, let me go down further. Let's see. All this is good, but let me go down further. Yeah, it's further down here. Verse 30, How weak is thine heart, saith the Lord Yahweh, seeing thou doest all these things. The work, it says, of an impervious, whorish woman, a shameless woman. That's the works that came from Israel ultimately. Although the Most High had compassion and mercy, and although he had a covenant, right, which was a marriage agreement, although they were one, Israel became that impervious or whorish, shameless woman. Verse 31, and that thou it says, buildest thine eminent place in the head of every way, and makest thine high place in every street, and has not been, it says, as an harlot, and thou scornest hire. Verse 32, but as a wife that committeth adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband. That's what Israel or the nation have done. And they remain in that place thinking that, for their actions that nothing's going to happen. They don't truly believe that. But that shows you the faith of the believers today to return and repent. Ezekiel 16:33, they give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hirest them that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom. So this was Israel becoming a whore, right? She was pimped out to the nations, right? But not by her own doings. Our people willingly went into these nations. It turned from the Most High. Israel was willingly pimped out, wanted to be pimped out, right? By these nations. And it says, and the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, and in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee, therefore thou art contrary. Verse 35, contrary to who? To the Most High. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. So that's the Most High speaking, right? Letting it be known, hey, for all that you've done is going to be recompensed. Verse 36, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered, through thy whoredoms with thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Now it goes on and it speaks about, let me just get to the point. Verse 38, Ezekiel 16:38, and I will judge thee as women that breaketh wedlock and shed blood are judged, and I will give thee blood and fury and jealousy, like a husband whose wife, went off, who went astray, who became a harlot, a slut, a whore. That's how the Most High said he's going to judge thee, right? For all thy whoredoms. Now, I'm going to end with this, because the morning is going to come at the last. The morning is going to come at the last. So although the majority of Israelites are not considering the latter end, this is what's coming here in these last days. Now let's start around here. 2 Ezra 9:7, and every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. That's why you brothers and sisters are returning to the commandments, because you're storing up for yourselves treasures in heaven. By your works, or by his works, and by faith whereby ye have believed. That's going to show who the elect are. That's showing here in the last days, and even much more, once the time of destruction is here, the time of Jacob's trouble. Verse 8, shall be preserved. So the elect are thinking upon the wrath that should be at the end, because they're looking to be preserved. Shall be preserved from the said perils, all the evil that's coming, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them from me from the beginning, because the elect were chosen from the beginning, ultimately. Verse 9, then shall they be in a pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them, it says, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Those that have loathed the laws of the Most High, right? As he said, abuse my ways, that didn't think or care to actually try to live upright, as it says in should be like Jeremiah, the 4th chapter, I believe it is, where it talks about how our people didn't say, let us now consider the words of the Most High. Let's consider his ways, so on and so forth. Verse 10, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. Ezekiel, the 16th chapter, was a perfect example of that, right? If our people is receiving benefit, and today the average Israelite don't even know the name of the Most High. Although the elect are returning to it, the average Israelite don't know the name of the Most High. So they've received benefits, but they truly haven't known, from where those benefits have come. The God, of the Bible, whom they should be serving, who is their God, the God of the 12 tribes. Verse 11, and they that have loathed my law, while they yet had liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, which is right now. We read it in Isaiah 55, right? Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. So that's what's coming, is that death is coming by pain. Now, let's go down here and just get the rest of the point. Verse 20, 2 Ezra 9:20. So I considered the world, and behold, there were peril because of the devices that were come into it. And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant of a great people. And that's the elect. Verse 22, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, which is the elect. The Most High is not worried about the masses of Israelites. He's worried about the elect, and how much more the masses of the people in the world. That they all constitute or make up the multitude that's going to perish. 2/3 the heathen and the wicked. Right? The children of disobedience is going to get the same judgment as the other nations. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. So that's through the favor of the Most High, right? The elect are going to be, are being looked at as perfect in his sight when you read in Ephesians, the 1st chapter, the 3rd through the 5th verse, right? The elect are looked at as perfect in his sight and upright before him. So I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting unto the believers. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Call Halo Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. All praises, honor, and glory be to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, whose name is Yahushai. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel. Barakim La Habayath Madabada. Blessings to the house of David, which your brothers labor in, day in and day out, giving all diligence, making your calling of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel, for the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand, and to the Akim wa Akwath, which are the brothers and sisters that listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. And to you I say Shalom.